Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're tuning in today because we are tackling something huge. Literally, the single most searched question in the digital landscape right now: how exactly do you make money online in 2026 starting from absolute zero? And when I say zero, I mean zero savings, zero audience, and zero prior experience. Today, we're unpacking a source that lays out the exact blueprint to get there. It is all about the 5 phases to wealth. Let's get right into it. So, the $10,000 question. Literally. But listen, we aren't just looking at generic boring lists today. You know the ones: start a blog, do some surveys. Nope. We are going deep into an exact tested roadmap to build a $10,000 monthly online income entirely from scratch. Like I mentioned, what we're really focusing on today is this concept of the 5 phases to wealth. It's a chronological journey that takes you from a complete standstill to some serious financial momentum.
Here's a quick look at our game plan for today. We'll cover the roadmap itself, getting that emergency cash, the freelance proof of concept, scaling passive assets, diversifying your income, and finally, avoiding the phase 2 trap. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Zero to Wealth Roadmap.
This entire journey operates on a remarkably tight timeline. Look at this. Weeks 1 and 2 are purely about emergency cash. Then, weeks 2 and 3, you pivot right into freelancing. By month 2, you're actually building passive assets while simultaneously scaling that freelance work. And finally, months 3 through 6 are all about diversifying your income streams to reach that big goal. It's intense for sure, but it's incredibly clear.
Moving right along to Section 2, stabilizing through emergency cash in those first couple of weeks. To actually pull this off, the strategy calls for same-day cash methods right out of the gate. We are talking about highly accessible, immediate action. Jumping on TaskRabbit for local gigs, donating plasma, or just flipping items you already own on Facebook Marketplace. Honestly, it might be time to finally sell that dusty guitar you never learned to play. These aren't your long-term wealth builders. These are tactical moves just for immediate liquidity.
The crucial target for Phase 1 is strictly between $200 and $500. That's it. You aren't trying to get rich donating plasma. You are simply trying to hit this baseline cash injection as quickly as humanly possible. But why?
Well, it's all about the mental bandwidth it frees up. Generating that initial cash removes the absolute financial anvil hanging over your head. Think about it. When you're panicked about paying a utility bill or buying groceries next week, your brain literally cannot focus on building a sustainable online business for the future. That immediate panic completely destroys the focus you need to build real wealth. Getting this cash, it buys you psychological breathing room.
Which brings us to Section 3. The freelance proof of concept in weeks 2 and 3. What's really fascinating here is just how simple the required skills are: writing, basic design, data entry. You absolutely do not need a master's degree in computer science to do this. The strategy suggests picking just one of these simple skills. Then use a platform like Fiverr, combine it with some outreach in relevant Facebook groups, and secure a paying client within 7 days. Just one skill, just one client.
And boom, here is the financial anchor for Phase 2. Making your first $500 from a single freelance client. This isn't just about the money, guys. It is your proof of concept. It proves that there is a real market for what you offer, and it proves that you can deliver value over the internet and actually get compensated for it. Once you hit this, you know the system works.
All right, shifting gears to Section 4, building and scaling passive assets.
The roadmap instructs you to take that money you've made from freelancing and invest your time into building just one passive method. The source outlines 3 fantastic options for this: creating an Etsy digital product, setting up Pinterest affiliate marketing, or starting a print-on-demand store. The key secret here is focus. Pick one and build it. Now prepare to be a little shocked by this number. $15. Yep, after all that work setting up a passive stream, your immediate goal is only $15. The goal in this phase isn't massive, life-changing wealth right out of the gate. The goal is simply getting that very first passive sale. Because listen, earning even $15 from something you created just once while you were sleeping or out for a walk, that is a mindset shift that changes absolutely everything. It fundamentally rewires how you view income forever. You're moving away from trading your hours for dollars to building assets that work for you. Once you taste that $15, you know for a fact it can be scaled.
So, while those passive assets slowly start to compound traffic, Phase 4 requires you to simultaneously scale your active freelance business. How? Through 3 very specific steps. 1. Raise your prices. 2. Bundle your services to increase that average order value.
And 3, ask every single satisfied client for a referral. If you actually execute those 3 steps, the source material notes your freelancing income should comfortably hit $1,000 to $2,000 a month by the end of month 3. Your active income is stabilizing and growing, perfectly complementing the passive assets you've set in motion in the background.
Now for the big leagues. Section 5, diversifying to $10,000 across months 3 to 6.
Let's look at how the math actually works here to reach our ultimate goal. You don't need one magical golden goose to generate 10 grand. You diversify across 3 separate income streams. You've got your active freelancing income, your passive income stream that is now gaining some real traction, and a third stream, like a content channel where you're building an audience. If you can get these 3 streams to average between $1,500 and $3,000 each, well, that perfectly stacks up to your $10,000 monthly goal. That is the actual mechanics of the roadmap.
But wait, we have to talk about Section 6, the Phase 2 trap. It's time for a reality check. Let me just read this direct quote from the source, because it's powerful. Most people who fail do so between Phase 1 and Phase 2. They generate the emergency cash, feel slightly better, and go back to doing nothing different. Guys, this is the psychological danger zone. It really comes down to a simple fork in the road, generating cash and stopping, versus using that breathing room to actually launch Phase 2. It is so incredibly tempting to make that first $500 flipping stuff on Facebook Marketplace, breathe a huge sigh of relief, and just stop. But that breathing room, that is your capital. You have to invest it into the next phase.
And as you embark on this, remember, you do not have to do it in a vacuum. The source material for this roadmap includes a daily series and a Telegram community offering heavy discounts on the tools you'll need, so that ongoing support is definitely out there.
Which brings us to our final thought. You've seen the roadmap, you understand the 5 phases to wealth, you know exactly what the first steps look like, and you know exactly where most people fail. So, the question I want to leave you with today is this. When you clear that initial financial panic, will you use your breathing room to start Phase 2? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Reflect on that question, take some action, and I'll see you next time.